let's compare it, right? This is gonna be a weird comparison, right? But Pokemon, right? We got little cute bunny rabbits and stuff, and hanging out. They're cute little Pokemon, and people are doing things to them. People are gonna do things to anything. But we just have to accept that.
Is that good though? Is that gonna change people's perception on?
I don't think so.
Is that gonna get them to go to church? I want to talk about Ramna One Half.
Okay.
Because it's such a unique take on romance, comedy romance.
I'm gonna pause real quick. It's so funny how you're talking about this. You're talking about this like it's this brand new thing, but it's been around since like the 80s and 90s.
I've never seen it.
It's like it's just this unique take on romance. I'm like, bro, it's like one of the original takes on romance. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Life is Daijoubu, episode 64. My name is Cole, and I am your host, and I am joined by the Cool Brothers because they're cold. Get it? Because it's winter now, guys.
Stay cool.
It's not actually winter. Technically, it's fall, but it's starting to feel like winter, isn't it?
It's freezing.
On the end, in the nice beanie, we got Skylar. He's rocking the beanie that he got from either his hand-me-down brother-in-law's or, I imagine, the thrift store. I feel like those are pretty good. Like,
those are very solid answers.
Yeah.
This one was a Christmas gift.
Oh. Well.
That doesn't mean it didn't come from a thrift store or a hand-me-down. It still could have. I don't know the answer.
And
it's almost Christmas season.
We also got Thane, who sleepwalks to his bed on common occasion.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't really here for that conversation, but I walked out into the studio and I heard Thane saying something along the lines of that he sleepwalks to his bed a lot.
Yeah, sometimes I'm at my computer and, I stay up late since, I work afternoons. And then last night I just randomly was in my bed and my computer's still on with stream or whatever. I'm like, what? Did I sleepwalk to my bed? I only had 5 minutes left of the show we were watching, so I had to make sure I watched the final episode before we came on because I wasn't sure if I watched all of it.
There you go.
It's good.
Cool. And speaking of that show, we watched. I'm blanking on the name all of a sudden. It's The Detective is Already Dead. That was the name of the show we watched. We will be talking about that around the halfway point. Quick, get what you thought out. Oh, that was okay.
It's okay. I think the beginning was better for me.
I agree. Completely agree. And we'll talk about why we agree a little bit later, so stay tuned for that. First, we have our news section, and then we're going to talk about our seasonal anime. But I feel like they need to say three things right there, and then I can loop back to that. But first, we are going to do the news. But I didn't have three things at that point. It was just two. So, without further ado on that awkward conversation, we got news. First things first, I saw a bunch of Gundam news, and I didn't bother writing any of it down because, A, it was a lot. And B, if you're a Gundam fan, you're already hyped for the news, so you don't need me to tell you about it. And then C, if you don't know about it, you're probably not a Gundam fan.
Yeah.
So I figured that was fair.
Is it an anniversary going on?
I think I saw a live action film or something. I don't know. So a bunch
Yeah.
of weird random things. Not weird, but just a bunch of random things. But I do have some news. We've got some anime announcements. The first one we have, and I believe this was the full title. It was just a couple words. They had two different versions of the title. I'm assuming it was just different translations. But I wrote down the first one, which was Kaya Isn't Scared. It's getting an anime adaptation. What was this originally, gamers?
It was a manga.
It was a manga. Good job. It was supposed to be an action horror, I believe is what it was. Next up is The Other World's Books Depend on the Bean Counter is getting an anime.
Obviously a light novel.
It's a light novel. Could you guess the genre from that title? There's no way you're going to guess it. I want to see what you say.
Say it one more time, the title.
The Other World's Books Depend on the Bean Counter. I don't know what the title means. I'm going to be honest.
Probably a government stock anime.
I'm going to say a fantasy.
It's a BL.
Oh.
All right, last one we have is Past the Monster Meat, Milady.
That just sounds.
I'm gonna say an anime original.
Sounds foul.
It was what do you think, Thane?
Probably like a light novel. Or
Yeah, Thane's right. It was a light novel. I just find it very funny how like it's not that like somebody sees something get popular and they jump on the train. Like they didn't see Delicious in Dungeon and go, I'm gonna do the same thing. It's just very ironic how often similar anime come out around the same time.
yeah.
Like Delicious in Dungeon and now this one, Monster Meat. Like it's very, very similar. Very similar. I'm assuming anyway. I mean the cover was them just like eating food. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming it was monster like actual like Delicious in Dungeon style. Anyway, those were the anime announcements. I've got 2 points. I'll save the most interesting and discussion-worthy one for last. But the first one I have is that the Steins Gate visual novel is getting a reboot. 15 years after its release. Actually, I think it's coming out 16 years later, but it was announced.
Isn't a remaster a remake?
A reboot.
A reboot?
So is it?
We already had a remaster.
Well, is it telling a different story, or is it like a sequel to?
I would imagine it's going to be like Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's going to be the same story, but there's going to be some subtle things here and there that change, and it'll be a lot better, I don't know, like interactive, I guess. Because currently, as this announcement happens, I'm currently playing through Steins Gate on my Vita. And compared to when I played Steins Gate 0 on my Vita, as of right now, it seems like you can pull up Okube's cell phone and like respond to text messages. In 0, those heavily influence the outcome of the story. As of right now in Steins Gate proper, I don't necessarily know if me responding to these messages has had an impact. Because I've already passed 2 endings, and I was able to access those endings if I want to by just choosing to not do something, more or less. Not by responding to text messages multiple chapters prior, like it was in 0. So my theory is that this reboot will probably just have a lot more interactivity with it. Like, you responding to messages will have impacts here and there later on with maybe like small things to large things. I imagine there'll be just more story. Like, they'll have more routes probably, if I had to guess. And everybody gets like a redesign. It's very subtle. Like they've only shown Okabe, Kurisu, and Mayuri, and Mayuri is the only one that's got like the biggest, most substantial redesign by just like changing her outfit. I mean, Kurisu and Okabe, they're almost too iconic where they can't change their outfit. They look exactly the same, just in a more modernized art style. I'm pretty sure it's the same original artist though.
Do they have? I don't think I've ever asked you this, but does the games have the same voice actors as the anime?
No idea. Because it's
Okay.
in Japanese, and I don't remember the Japanese
don't
voice
have it in
actors
English.
close enough.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
It's been too long since I've watched it in Japanese, so I don't actually remember. But I would assume probably, yeah. That would make the most sense in my mind. Yeah, so look forward to that in 2025 if you guys want to jump onto the light novel craze that's been sweeping the
I don't.
nation. Nation doesn't work because we're not in Japan, but
Is that one of the more popular? I'm assuming that like RPGs are the most popular over there.
yeah, but I mean, like,
Or
most
gacha
RPGs
games,
have
maybe.
so many different light novel elements nowadays.
That's true.
That basically light novels are pretty high up there, I would say.
Fire Emblem's pretty much a light novel now.
Yeah.
What about like Persona 5?
That's basically a light novel.
Yeah.
So then I would probably like light novels.
The only thing I mean, if you play through Persona 5 and you enjoy like the school aspect of it, like going to school and like living your life, but you hate when you have to go to the dungeons and like do combat and stuff, you would love light novels.
Visual novels, excuse me.
Yeah, excuse me, visual novels. I've been saying light novel the whole time. Excuse me, visual novels. Yeah, you would love visual novels because there really isn't any combat or anything like that.
I've played a few. I mean, I played
the
Doki Doki, and then
KFC.
we played KFC. I'm sure there's other games I played that have elements of it, though. I just can't think of them off the top of my head.
If there's a lot of just dialogue and people talking back and forth to each other, and they got little character portraits on the left and right or whatever talking and stuff, that's how you know. That's pretty much the dead giveaway anyway. But yeah, so I'm personally looking forward to that. I am quite excited about it. In a weird way, even though I'm currently just reading the normal visual novel, the original one, I'm very excited that this is going to come out next year. I'm just going to jump right into it basically the moment it comes out.
What was the announcement date?
It just says 2025.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if there was a month attached to it. I know there wasn't a specific date, but anyway, the last thing I have is an interesting one, and I'm curious to see what you guys think about it. And it's that Lord of the Rings: The War of Rohirrim uses Christopher Lee's voice, the late Christopher Lee's voice. But let me just put this out. His wife gave consent. She said that's probably what he would want.
Is it AI or is it actual his voice lines?
I don't know enough, to be honest. It seemed like they were using the voices from the previous movies and stuff from Lord of the Rings that he was in, playing the character.
If I had to guess, they're going to just use some of his iconic lines.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. He was a big Lord of the Rings fan. So,
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. He would read the books every year.
Wow.
Every year.
That's
So,
cool that he got the part then.
Yeah, the fact that he got in there is really, really cool. So I personally think it's really cool that they're doing that.
Do you know what noise a man makes when he's stabbed in the back? Because I do. That's what he said.
Lord of the Rings, man. I get it. I'm a big fan.
That's actually behind the scenes thing.
I only know him as Count Dooku, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, he's a huge Lord of the Rings fan, so I think that's exactly what he would want too. So,
Oh, cool. I thought it was going to be a little more
controversial. Are
Yeah.
people like up in arms about it?
I don't no idea. I kind of doubt it, especially because they have his wife's consent.
I wonder if they had to get. Well, no, because they probably have like Tolkien estate copyrights or whatever rights they needed to make the show. So I'm sure they don't have to do anything else with that. Maybe if they're using direct lines from the films, I wonder who they'd have to get permit. Who owns it? Is it Warner Brothers?
Yeah, Warner Brothers.
Is it not Warner Brothers making this movie?
Yeah, it is Warner
Oh,
Brothers.
okay. Then it
Yeah, I was
doesn't
going to
matter.
say them. If
Yeah.
they have the rights to the
They own the film
then-
rights right now.
Yeah, then it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Well, like Amazon, stinky Amazon owning the TV show rights.
It's cool that they asked her, though. Like, that's a very respectful thing to do. I'm assuming that studios that do stuff like that would,
Yeah.
but you never know.
I'm going to assume that if it's not lines that he's already recorded, it's literally just AI voice, if I had to guess. I don't know what else they would have done.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's not that, just because I'm kind of anti-AI when it comes to stuff, but maybe it's good if it is.
I am too, but I don't know how I feel about consensual AI use. Like if they say, "Hey, can we use your husband's voice in this AI generator to recreate his voice for this thing that he did?" and she says yes, it's probably okay. I'm completely against non-consensual AI use, but I mean, it's probably okay if they have complete consent to do it. Like, okay, I have a scenario for you, because I didn't come up with this. This is a real thing. Let's say you're a YouTuber and you never appear in front of the camera. It's literally just you talking. So your whole channel is more or less your voice, and your voice is well known because of your channel. And you get sick for a while, and it affects your voice, and you can't speak. But you need to make videos to make money. And so you resort to making an AI copy your voice from your videos and then use that for your next couple videos. Is that okay?
I would just use the goofy text to speech thing.
But nobody would want to watch that anymore
Yeah.
because it's not you anymore. It's not your
That's
voice.
I don't know. That's a tough one. Because, like, even right now, I've been, like, coming off of... I lost my voice for, like, a week now, which sucks, but it's coming back. I haven't made anything just because I'm like, well, I can't talk. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about
And
the
like
AI
we're talking
thing.
like a channel that uploads daily.
Yeah, that's tough. I don't
One
know.
guy did do that actually. I remember there was I was watching a random YouTube video. And he says, "Yeah, I lost my voice, so I use an AI to make it because people could hear weird inflections in his voice that sounded like AI, and people like, did this dude use AI?" He's like, and then the top comments like, "Yeah, I used AI for my voice because I was sick."
The one I'm thinking of, he just explicitly states it in the title of the video that this is an AI voice.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tough. I mean, I think where AI voice is right now, it's obvious that when there's an AI voice talking, but I mean, I think eventually you would get to where you couldn't tell the difference with
And
AI.
I think if it's in a movie, they're going to try really hard to make sure it doesn't sound bad. So I imagine it'll be almost indistinguishable. Yeah, that word. Thank you, Thane. To his actual voice if he was actually voice acting it. That said, this is all hearsay. I have no idea if it's AI or if it's just reusing lines. I didn't
Right.
look that deep into the article.
If I had to guess, I'm going to guess that they're just reusing lines, but who knows? It's 2024. AI's everywhere.
I remember the one guy in the old era of Let's Plays, Quibble Cop. He just, in order to milk content every day without him standing in front of the camera, he actually made an AI version of himself that just AI reacted to every.
That was very
Single-
controversial.
Yeah.
He did, but he kept doing iterations of it to where it was almost indistinguishable.
Yeah.
Like he totally bait and switched his audience by like version 3 or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because he's like, I know I've been trying to do AI and it really blah 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 blah, and then he's like, but this video was AI, and then he actually comes on. It was just a mind trip.
Actually, when I watch it, you could tell, like, when it says, like, you could see, like, weird movements in his face. Like, his face felt very stiff, and it's like, this video is AI.
I think in hindsight, like in retrospect, it's easy to point some of that stuff
Yeah.
out. But I think, and I'm not just saying his video specifically, but I think AI is getting to a point to where some things are indistinguishable, where you're just like, oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to pose one more thing. Let's say you are in the same shoes as Christopher Lee. You are this highly respected actor, and you have this pretty huge role in a film franchise that you love very much, like Lord of the Rings, and you die. Would you be okay? Obviously, it doesn't matter because you're freaking dead.
Right.
But this is just for the thought experiment, right? Would you be okay with them AI recreating your voice for this thing that you love, that you wish you could have done, but you can't because you're dead? Or would you rather them just hire somebody new to maybe try to mimic your voice? I mean, like, let's be honest. If they're trying to mimic your voice, it's the same freaking thing as an AI.
Yeah, I guess I don't see a problem with that at that point.
Yeah.
I still think I'm pro human creation versus AI, but then you get into the gray line of, well, AI at some point was human creation. I don't know. I don't see a problem with it, but I definitely prefer the human aspect of art.
I'd be one of those douchebags who's still alive, and I'd be like, yeah, I made my own AI version, so I don't have to act in movies anymore.
Gosh dang. I'm definitely more leaning towards your side, Skylar. And you brought up an interesting point, just the whole human aspect of it. I'm 100% more for human, especially like when you think about it with like just the workforce side of it, where it essentially would take away a job. If they're not just reusing his voice lines and they're making an AI, it takes away the job from someone who can just recreate his voice with his own voice.
Right.
Sure that made sense to you guys, I bet. So hopefully that didn't sound too confusing. But I digress. I would probably be okay with it, especially if they have consent from the family. But
Right.
I also am with you on that, where I would prefer just to be a normal human being if they are doing AI.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Like I said, and maybe we're in the minority when it comes to AI, or majority. I haven't really delved deep in discussions about AI, but I'm kind of against AI right now.
If you ever see, of course, the sphere that I don't participate, but the sphere that I lurk on Twitter, it's mostly artists, and they abhor AI. Like, they hate it. And I completely get it, because it's literally just plagiarizing their work, more or less.
Yeah, I think AI is beneficial when it comes to, like, if you use AI as a tool to assist your workflow, I'm fine with that. Because in, like, video editing, there's a lot of AI things that I use all the time to speed up my workflow. But when it's the AI creating the entirety of whatever something is.
And then they have the audacity to call themselves an artist.
Yeah, that's brutal.
It's
Like,
so funny.
you can't just go on an AI picture generating thing and then
that-
type in, I want you to make Sonic and Pikachu.
That guy that
See
made
what it looks like. And then the AI does it. You're just like, oh, now I'm an artist.
that
I'm
guy
an
that
artist.
won a AI won a art contest by using AI, and he was trying to sue someone over it, and people were like, "You're dumb, you're dumb." I'd have to look up the full story. But yeah, he won an art contest using AI, and it's like you should be disqualified for that, bro. Like, no way, man.
I think AI is such not muddy. It's such a nuanced conversation because there's so many things about it. And I obviously don't like when litigation gets involved with art, but I do think that there probably needs to be, whether it's a law or just a gentleman's rule, that if you create something with AI, fully created with AI, it needs to be stated in the title of whatever it is that this is AI created.
I agree. I'm 100% in agreement with
Your
that.
parents are AI.
Well, like with anything, songs, pictures, images, videos, I think it needs to be stated that something is created by AI.
I agree. And it needs to not be able to hide it. Like, it needs to be like on display, like full front and center. Like, yeah, like you said, in the title, not in the description, hiding behind some other words.
Yeah,
It's
it needs to
gotta
be blatantly
right then
obvious
and
that
there.
something is an AI.
Like, this is an AI piece of work. All right. Well, I'm sure if you listen to podcasts, you've probably heard a million other white people talk about AI. So I think it's time we move on to our seasonal. Oh wait, Thane's got one more white guy talk. One more white guy point.
Did you hear about the Vatican's latest?
Oh yeah, this is a good one. Okay, never mind. Not even AI. This is just funny. Go for it, Thane.
The Vatican's latest effort to get the youth to come to church
with a mascot,
with a little anime girl mascot named, apparently the pronunciation is Luce, which is Italian, not Italian, Latin.
He's got to see it.
Latin for light, and she's just a little pilgrim girl, and already people are just
Okay, I've seen this.
going wild.
People are doing some interesting things like the internet normally does.
Yeah. And people just looked at this little anime girl. Just nothing. I like that art where it says, "Don't mess with me. I got an anime on my side." I like that one. But then there's other arts where they just looked at that and it's like, yeah, I'm going to hell.
They're just all like, we're going to do the thing.
Yeah.
We're going to do the thing that we always do with these things. My favorite is the picture of the Pope holding the anime figure.
That's not the Pope.
Wait, that's not the Pope?
That's just a regular priest.
Wasn't there a picture of the Pope
look,
early up?
The fingernails are painted.
Go up to the top. Wasn't there a picture of the Pope with it? Higher, all the way up. Oh, I guess he's not with it.
No, that's a regular priest.
I was thinking that one right there by Wolf Girl.
I think it might have been a meme where he's like holding the cracker, but it's the little anime
it could have
girl.
been that. Yeah.
So this reminds me of a 4chan when they had a Christian girl mascot, like a regular Christian girl.
They did the thing.
They already did it right there, dude. Just a couple scrolls on Google Images and you got it.
Jesus holding it.
He's holding it.
Oh my dude, this has got to be like some old guy that's like, hey, my grandkids like anime.
Yeah.
Let's give him an anime character.
Look, the eyeballs look like hands.
What do you mean they look like
lights.
hands?
They look like light
palms
beams.
with like a million fingers.
Oh, it's just I guess that's just like a weird reflection
style.
thing. We will certainly be getting a Luce figure, and we're gonna put it right up there on the rest of with the rest of the guys, right next to Pochita.
Should we get a Bible and put her on top of the Bible?
Yeah.
Or get a figure of Jesus doing like a cool pose?
They're hanging out.
It's funny. Some people were like, Luce is short for Lucifer. It's like, well,
For loose.
Well, yeah. Well, you see, Lucifer does mean Lord of Light. That was Satan's name when he was in heaven. So,
Jeez, now we're getting to the lore.
there you go. It doesn't mean something horrible like
Oh,
everyone's
Lord.
thinking. Luce means light. Or Luce, I don't know.
I'm happy we're getting into the lore.
Yeah. So wouldn't it pronounce Lucifer? I don't know. I think it's just Lucifer. Everyone's just pronounced it.
I'm no English scholar.
Yeah.
If I was the Pope or the Vatican, and I did not want to get memed on or have a character completely sexualized, I would not have.
No,
done
I
this.
think this was part of their plan, right? Like, I think like they did all this
Let's
stuff
be honest.
to get exposure.
Yeah. Let's be honest. Only weirdos sexualize a little girl.
Like, let's be honest as well. Like, only there's no such thing as bad press, right?
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, I would argue that the Vatican and the Catholic Church are, well, it's not an argument. They are the biggest on planet Earth.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, look, like, let's compare it, right? This is gonna be a weird comparison, right? But Pokemon, right? We got little cute bunny rabbits and stuff, and hanging out. They're cute little Pokemon, and people are doing things to them. People are gonna do things to anything.
But
We
is
just
that-
have to accept
Is
that.
that good though? Is that going to change people's perception on?
I don't think so.
Is that going to get them to go to church?
Oh, maybe I don't freaking
Like
know.
what? I guess what's the end
I don't.
goal?
I'm not even talking about the people doing the dirty things. I'm talking like the people that put out this product. It still doesn't. It doesn't paint them in a bad light. If anything, it paints them in a good light because they get this cute mascot thing. Just like with Pokemon, they have the cute mascot thing, and it gets more well known, and it gets into their mind. Once again, there's no such thing as bad press. So even if people are memeing on it, it's going to be good press regardless. And so I don't know if they're trying to get people to go to church. I think they just want people thinking about it, right?
That's true.
And here we are thinking about
That's
it,
true.
dude.
We just proved your point.
We've all converted to Catholicism thanks to the anime girl that they have released for us. Thank you.
I didn't even know this thing existed until 5 minutes ago.
It's pretty funny, and you're welcome to becoming a.
They got us. The
Yep.
Pope got us.
The
We
Pope got
talked
us.
about it for 5 minutes on our show.
now the Jewish sects need to come up with a
little anime girl.
Yeah, a little anime girl. to
Everyone needs an
compete.
anime girl. If they
Yeah.
don't have an anime girl, they're not doing it right. We're talking like political parties need
Yeah.
anime girls.
Oh yeah, the
Donald Trump, the anime girl version.
That's right. We need. I'm talking like just
They need,
basic, like
they
the
need
elephant and the
Yeah,
or the
donkey. You
donkey.
make a donkey
Turn
girl
those
and
into
an
anime
elephant girl.
girls, jinjikas or whatever they call them. I don't know what they're called. Where they anthropomorphize an object or animal and turn it into an anime girl.
That was a huge thing with like I remember when this latest generation of consoles came out. They were doing it with like Xbox
Oh, yeah.
and PlayStation.
It's a big thing. I mean, like, once again, I follow a lot of artists on Twitter, and we see a lot of Pokemon be turned into anime girls, and there they are, is all I'm going to say. So,
there they are.
we need a Life is Daijoubu anime girl. It can't just be Chizuru forever. And don't worry, Chizuru, you're not going to get replaced, but we need our own
Man, we should
anime girl.
we should get a design of one and then have it 3D printed right here.
And we'll get it
Yeah.
commissioned, and we'll 3D print
Yeah.
it, and then we'll paint it, and then she'll be our mascot. Honestly, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll look into that. Stay tuned
Yeah.
for the Life is Daijoubu anime girl. But I think it's finally time to start talking about our seasonal shows. We spent too much time yapping about anime and anime adjacents, and sometimes not even anime. So let's talk about anime. I want to talk about a show specifically that I picked up. I had already planned on watching it, but I started watching it a couple days ago. I think I watched the first 3 episodes. I think it's fun. I don't think it's like a crazy, incredible show, but I think it's a lot of fun. And I'll just say the name. It's called Trillion Game. Have you guys seen this one?
I
No.
watched the first episode and just couldn't get into it.
Fair. Completely understandable.
And maybe I need to just keep going.
It's more or less just turn your brain off and enjoy the stupid. The best way to put it is if Joseph Joestar from Part 2 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure wanted to become a millionaire, and he lives in the modern times. So he made a friend that is nerd, and he makes nerd do all the things. Joseph Joestar in this show is the most charismatic person that's ever been created in this world. We got a little baby spider coming off of the camera. That's kind of scary. I don't like that. Anyway, yeah, and so he, most charismatic person, he somehow convinces this huge company to lend him and his buddy 100 million yen to start up their company. And they don't have any idea what their company is going to be. They literally just went out to get money, and they already have a start, and they're going to make a company. And like we know what happens. Like it's told from the perspective of it's like a retelling. It's future telling past tense story.
yeah.
Like Nerd Guy's already a trillionaire, and like he's just telling like this is how we did it.
Yeah, if it's like
Great
flashbacks,
Gatsby.
I guess.
I guess, sure. He's all like, and this is how I became the strongest hero in the world, and this is how I became the Hokage, and this is how I became a freaking million, bajillion, trillionaire. So, it's a shonen. But it's fun. The characters are stupid, and that's kind of why I've been enjoying it. Like I said, it's a turn your brain off kind of show, so just get ready for that if you do want to keep pursuing it, Sky. And for the rest of you, if you guys are curious, it's not bad, honestly. It's, like I said, it's entertainment. I don't know what else you would want. Do you want another isekai, or do you want other stupid entertainment that's not an isekai for once? I chose the not an isekai for once. And that's the show I talked about. What do you guys got?
I want to talk about Ramna One Half.
Okay.
Because it's such a unique take on romance, comedy romance.
I'm gonna pause real quick. It's so funny how you're talking about this. You're talking about this like it's this brand new thing, but it's been around since like the 80s and 90s.
I've never seen it.
It's like it's just this unique take on romance. I'm like, bro, it's like one of the original takes on romance.
I guess it's unique to what I've
I
I've
agree.
ever seen.
I agree, and I find it very fun. It's just like I said, it was just funny. I want to point it out.
I watched the first episode, the original 80s one back in the day, and they had nippleless boobs.
They have that too. In
Yeah,
this.
yeah, I saw it too. Yeah, but there it's a lot more egregious. Like, hey, here's the boobs, but they just have no nipples.
And he's a boy.
They've
so
done the same
It,
thing.
it counts.
Yeah,
Still
but
get a
no,
lot
it's
of
a
it.
lot more.
It's okay because he's a boy.
now.
It's okay because he's a boy.
No. Back then, they had a lot more nippleless boobs. Like, they just like, hey, there's where the nipples are supposed
Ron
to be.
was
We
a
can't
boy.
draw them. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess I don't know the comparison, but I've seen it a lot.
Ron was a boy,
already.
so it's okay, guys.
In fact, I'm pretty sure sometimes they actually do draw nipples, but they're very pink.
Aren't nipples pink?
Yeah, but like they're like very bright pinks, almost camouflage
Kinda.
with the skin.
Oh, okay. It's really fun because this boy turns into a girl and back into a boy, and it's the more he gets closer with the main girl, the more like she's very comfortable around his female counterpart, even though she still knows he's a dude.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's really, really interesting because it's like he's having to deal with this crap, but also in the world he's in, he also just doesn't really care. And people have seen him transform, and then they're just like, oh, okay, whatever. This is a thing now, I guess. It's not like something he's trying to hide. In the beginning, it felt like this was going to be like something he was trying to hide, but now it's just like, eh.
I've not watched this, and I do plan on starting watching it. I've read like 100 chapters of the manga, and that was one of the things that like took me a while to like realize, like, why aren't people caring that he's transforming? Like, that's a weird mystical thing. But I mean, it's Rumiko Takahashi. She literally just makes like a unique premise and just makes it makes people pretend that it's just a normal occurrence. So I get it. But yeah, I agree. It's a fun show. I mean, it's a fun story. I've not seen the show, but I do plan on watching it.
Yeah, I'm really, really enjoying it. It's kind of one of those it's a popcorn one.
If you like this one as much as you do, I wonder how much you'd enjoy Urusei Yatsura.
I should probably watch that one too. And that was another point I was going to bring up too. Is I'm totally on board, and you've spoken a lot about this in previous episodes, but I'm totally on board for these anime remakes.
Totally,
like, it's introducing a new audience to stuff that's been out for 40 years.
Yeah, and in my opinion, and this might trigger people, but I think the art style looks better than it ever has. I don't think. I am not a big 90s anime fan. I don't like see that 90s anime art style and go, dang, that's the peak anime art style. That's so good. I'm like, bro, no, I want widescreen. I want the full screen to be used. I want to see all the different colors they use. I want to see the weird colors they use. I want it all. And that's why I think I liked Urusei Yatsura as much as I did, because it was literally that. The widescreen with crazy freaking colors that were not present in the original series.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a conversation for a whole nother day. But
Absolutely,
I think you're right. I think it's tough to argue that the newer animation and the tools at their disposal makes it way better than prior, than like the 80s and stuff. Although that has like nostalgic and charm to it, but I would agree. I think that the newer art styles are better.
And, like, this is coming from a dude that, like, watched Rurouni Kenshin and Sailor Moon and Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And all this stuff back in the day. I watched that stuff, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool. But I definitely prefer the remakes of these things that we've gotten.
Oh, and I guarantee you, if you compare episode 1 of Pokemon to that
the movie.
The movie remake thing.
Well,
they did?
that one's that's a little unfair because it's a movie, you know, and movies always have better quality than TV shows.
Then let's compare the first episode to the latest episode.
Yeah,
that's
fair.
released.
That makes I mean, like I showed you that one
Yeah.
episode. It's incredible art.
yeah.
Incredible freaking animation. And you're watching Ash in episode 1 just drag Pikachu, and that's like literally a PNG. They're just like sliding across the. Yeah, I mean it's not a PNG because it was like an actual like physical picture back then,
Right.
but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, we're on 1.5 though. Good stuff. What do you got, Thane? What's the show you're watching this season?
Fuck. I've been behind on all my anime watching.
Have you started any?
Yes, I did. I started one episode and then haven't watched the rest.
Wait, one episode of each show?
Well, a couple shows.
Oh, well, which
Yeah.
one do you like?
Dan to Dan.
Tell us about it.
It's a show about finding your balls.
Honestly, couldn't have put it better myself. Wait, how far are you into this show then? Dan to Dan, you're more than episode 1.
Episode 4. However many besides the last one.
Okay, so 4 then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Show about finding your
Yeah.
balls.
Yeah. Or I could talk about Daima. I kind of like Daima. It's just another show about Dragon Ball, but the animation's good this time.
Is it like a remake?
No, it's after. It's set after.
Dragon Ball OG?
Yeah, Dragon Ball Z. Like.
Oh, after Z.
Yeah, They, for some reason. Well, the premise is about an alien that's like. So this is supposed to be set in between Z and Super. So it's like, there's this one alien from another dimension. He's like, oh no, Majin Buu and Babidi have been defeated. Wait, but if I use the Dragon Balls of that world, make them young, I could be the most powerful thing. And he does, and then runs away like a little bitch.
Good job, Majin Buu.
Yeah,
You did
it.
it.
wasn't Majin Buu. It's
Oh.
another. I can't remember his name, but he's like But of course,
Gohan.
behind the scenes, he's obviously not the most powerful protagonist, most powerful villain. Because if you ever caught up with Goku, Goku would still go like this, and then his head would go flying off.
But it's
That's
fun?
probably not going to happen because Goku doesn't do that. But
But you're enjoying it. It's fun.
yeah,
Even with like the interesting art style, you're okay with that?
yeah, it's just the same Dragon. It's just the same art style Toriyama used before he died. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Cool.
Is this a story that he wrote?
yeah, he wrote it.
Okay.
At least most of it before he died. I don't know how much he finished.
So did
but,
he wrap up with everything Dragon Ball he wanted to do before he died?
Probably not Super, but someone's probably gonna just take over for that.
He's
But
probably got a bunch of notes or
Yeah.
something.
but the producer a while ago he said, "Yeah, we're gonna make sure Dragon Ball goes on for another decade." It's like cool, I guess.
Dragon Ball until we
Yeah.
die.
Dragon
Yeah.
Ball Forever. That's gonna be the
Dragon
next
Ball
one.
forever.
Yep.
What? There was another thing that was like that forever. Never mind. We'll move on.
Go 13.
Sure, that
Yeah.
one. All right. Well, that's the seasonal stuff. Let's talk about the show that we watched over the past 2 weeks, which of course was The Detective Is Already Dead. Skylar, you chose this for us. You tell us about it. That's the rules. I don't make them up.
We just abide by them. This is a show about a guy. Who,
Oh, spoilers.
spoilers.
Yeah.
This is a show about a guy that meets a girl on a plane, and then she's like, "Hey, I want you to be my sidekick because I'm a detective." And that's it.
This show's
Is it-
not about detective work. What a lie.
It's yeah. So the stories. This one's also told in flashbacks because after this first episode, he's like, "Yeah, this is how I met this girl," and then now she's dead. So let me tell you about it. But they kind of go back and forth between present day and with her. Although in like the beginning, like the first couple episodes, he meets a new girl named Nagisa, where she's like, "Hey, for some reason you need to help me. I have this heart," and it's spoiler. Well, I guess the whole thing's spoiler. It's the heart from Siesta is the name of the girl, the detective girl he met on the plane. Falls in love with her. He loves her. Nagisa comes to him a year later and is like, "Yo, I have this heart."
3 years later.
Three
No, a
years.
year. They were together for 3 years.
Yeah.
She died, and then a year later,
Yeah.
the story starts. Well, I guess continues.
Continues, yeah. Anyway, to briefly sum it up, because I would rather talk about other details than the plot specifically, because it was probably my least favorite part about it. Nagisa has Siesta's heart. We later find out that Nagisa was the villain from a year ago, and Siesta has been repressing the memories of that villain. Am I missing anything else?
She ripped her heart out to make a new heart, and then Siesta overwrote her memory. Basically, did a Uno reverse card on her, and basically said, "Ha, actually, it was all according to Keikaku." Or Kokoro.
So I want to start with the part that Cole and I already mentioned at the beginning of the episode, but the beginning of the show was a lot better for me, and then as it went on, I just slowly
it's
stopped
weird.
caring about it.
It's weird. So at first, when I was watching the show, it's like, all right, this is kind of mid, and then as it kept going, it's like, you know what, this is so ridiculous. I'm actually enjoying it.
See, I wanted more detective stuff, and when we were with Nagisa for the first couple episodes, we got a lot of that. The first episode with Siesta, where she's like figuring out stuff, I was like, bro, this is what I want. I like the detective. This is how I came to the conclusions and I solved the case.
The best way for me to explain my thoughts is my notes go from excited about the show to criticizing the show. And
Go ahead.
I mean that's more or less the idea of it, right? Like we just what you said. The show felt more enjoyable at the beginning. I remember coming to Thane and Sky separately, being like, "Yo, this is a fun show. I'm enjoying this. Skylar, you did it. You got to get another good one." And by the end of it, I was just like, "Yeah, it was okay."
I think it's the opposite. It's like, yeah, it's it's right. The mystery's not very good. Like, I don't think it's a good mystery show. Then it starts turning to an action show. It's like, this is a bit more enjoyable. It full came into what it wanted to be. It's like, I don't want to be a mystery show. I want to be an action show.
So I got two things. First thing is that apparently all of the light novel enjoyers of this show hate this anime. They think it's a terrible adaptation. They are not a fan at all. So apparently the light novel's a lot better.
So I think that has something to do with pacing, is my guess, because this show felt like a speed run at times.
Yep. And then the second thing I want to point out really quick is just the fact that like some people really enjoyed this anime. Even they weren't light novel enjoyers. They literally just watched anime. Because I was reading comments of it. Some people are like, dude, I cried at the end. I'm like, bro, I'm happy for you.
That's why I put it on my list, is because it was praised.
Yeah. Some people really freaking enjoyed it. And like I could see a lot of like good things and why people enjoyed it. And I'm gonna start from the beginning of my experience with the show. At the very beginning, this is like after episode 1 or 2. I don't know, like when they're running around his school. Was that the same first episode 1 or is that episode 2?
I can't remember.
I think it's episode
Probably
2.
A bit of both, maybe.
Regardless, by the end of that episode,
Episode 1 was a super long one, I remember.
It was 46
okay,
minutes.
so that was all within the same episode. At the end of that episode, that's when he goes, well, it doesn't matter because she's already dead.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wrote down, I'm like, very rude of the show to make us really like the chemistry between the two of them, and then remind us of the title of the show, then that the detective's already dead. And so I assumed wrongfully that the rest of the show was going to be in present tense, and we were maybe going to get tiny flashbacks here and there for the past, and we were just going to continue on with this new girl, and then that was going to be the show. And then they introduced the new girl, Nagisa, and they're like, oh yeah, she has Siesta's heart. Well, she doesn't. They don't say that. They just say they have someone else's heart.
Right.
And I wrote down, the question isn't who gave the heart, but how long the show is going to go on until they confirm it. And then like Denim was like, "Oh, gotcha, like only 10 minutes," because they told us like instantly that it was her, and I appreciate that. But the reason why they told us so quickly is because the show wasn't about their future; it was about the past, honestly. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where my biggest complaint is. I don't think the show should have been rooted in the past with Siesta. I think we should have left Siesta alone and continued on just Nagisa.
Apparently, that was the original intention of the light novel artist. He said, yeah, I was going to just continue the show without Siesta, but the one shot got popular, or the short story got popular, so I decided to write more about her.
Because in my opinion, it feels bad. Every time we spend an episode, multiple episodes in a row with Siesta, all I can think about is, this girl's dead, she's gone. Who cares? I don't care about any of this. This has no meaning to me. And, like, sure, some of it comes back, but the only reason it comes back is just because they never finished their job back in the day.
Yeah. To me, that whole stretch, because you're right, it was like 3 episodes in a row where it was just back with Siesta. And this was like episode like 6, 7, somewhere in there.
With no minor cut to the future. It was literally, we're in the past and we're there for the whole time.
Yes. And I think that whole section was just to teach us about hell, which is Nagisa.
But we don't need 4 episodes for that.
No.
And we already appreciate Siesta and, what's his name? Kimi's relationship. We already appreciate their relationship. Mm-hmm. We don't need more. Sure, it's nice, but you can do these little things in tiny flashbacks if you really want this stuff. I don't know. That's my biggest issue, is too much Nagisa.
Well, think about Free Rent and how they do it. They don't spend that much time in the past. It's like they take a present time lesson that Free Rent is teaching Fern and the like, and compare it to when she learned it.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's really quick.
It's very, very quick. Honestly, I hate that you brought up that comparison, because I never thought of it, but now that you have, I've realized how much more the show, or how much worse the show actually is, because Free Rent is this show, but a million times better. It's the same similar concept. Boom, dude. Whoa, stop. Why did you do that to me?
But see, that was like, while I was watching, and I'm like, oh, this is like telling in flashbacks, but already what you pointed out, I'm just like, Free Rent does it so much better.
Yeah, it does. And like I said, I did like Siesta as a character. I thought she was really fun.
Same.
And I liked her relationship with Kimi. I thought it was really, really good.
That was my favorite part, was their relationship.
I even like Nagisa and Kimi's relationship. I think that's fun. I think the idea of Siesta's heart being transferred to Nagisa, really cool. I don't think they needed the anime BS convoluted, like this is how it actually happened.
Right.
It could have been just literally a simple heart transplant, and we all would have been fine with it, I think.
See, and that's why I think the whole thing was just to teach us about hell and how like bad hell is. Oh, that's Nagisa. Oh no.
It's by the way, it's hell with one L, like the Norse goddess.
Yeah, the Norse goddess. Yeah. Another sucky part is that because hell's the main baddie, we have the final encounter with just the freaking dude that just turns into Charmander.
Yes.
And it's just all like...
And by the way, he's an alien, apparently.
Really, just like, nobody cares about this guy. They literally just want the big action scene at the end, and this is the best they're going to give us, because he's not even that big of a threat. He's really just a monster. That's it.
He's just a nemesis.
Not even that good.
Yeah, no.
See, and one of my favorite themes...
Remake Nemesis, by the way.
One of my favorite themes they brought up, too, that I thought they were going to, like, expound more upon, because I would have liked to see more examples of it. But it's like as soon as he finds out that Nagisa has Siesta's heart and she's, like, being influenced by Siesta, he's like, bro, I want you to be your own person. I don't care whose heart is inside your chest. You be you.
Yeah.
And then instantly something happens and she's like, I'm going to be a detective with you now.
Yep.
And it's just like, bro, like that's such a cool theme. And we could have got glimpses of it throughout the entirety of the show of like her being her own self. But instead, I was just continually reminded, oh, that's Siesta's heart.
To the point where they force Siesta back into the plot at the very end.
Yes.
Which was like a cool fan servicing moment. But at the same time, it completely defeats the exact thing that you just said. And it's like unfortunate for the plot, but like I said, fun for the fan service that they get like a final conversation thing.
I really feel like we're missing out on a huge chunk of probably what the light novel has to offer, and maybe that's why everybody hates the anime that's read the book.
It could be. I imagine they didn't change the story, though. I imagine this weird anime BS stuff is in the light novel, so I think I'd probably still have the main issue that I have with it, which is just the fact that we spent too much time back on the Siesta.
And I'm curious as how much content of Kimi and Nagisa hanging out and getting to know each other and doing things gets cut out. Yeah. I don't know. I've never read the light novels, but it feels like we got from point A to point B real quick.
And then we spent a lot of time at point A and at point B. We didn't spend a lot of time in between at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you want to count the flashback as time in between, but like that's point A in my opinion because that's where we
Sure.
started.
Right.
We essentially started in A the entire time, and every time we were at the end, like by the time like the last couple episodes, that was all just point B. There was no in between.
Right.
They were on the boat like an episode after we realized that it's not that it's a heart transplant to a new person. It's literally the same person kind of thing. It's weird. Yeah, they leaned into it a little bit too much, I think, as well. Like near the end, when like after Kimi's like asleep on Siesta's lap after she has a new heart, they literally just drew her like Siesta. I'm like, she didn't change. Like she didn't get a new haircut, new hair color, and all these things. And they had a really big thing with eyes in the show. They kept trying to like change their eye color to like show who they are or whatever. And I'm just like, I get it, and that's a good visual, but like. There's no possible way that's how it's written in the light novel, right? If it is, then I just don't know. Yeah.
What do you got, Thane? What are your thoughts? I know you had a VTuber. You probably watched the VTuber one, right? The air in Japanese. I'm assuming it was the Japanese VTuber.
Yeah, it was. There's a cameo of 2 Hololive members.
2?
Specifically Shirakami Fubuki and Natsuro Matsuri.
The Wolf Girl and the Cat
she
Girl.
was the eye patch girl, right?
What?
Was one of them the eye patch girl?
No, they were both on the TV talking about the Eye Patch Girl.
Oh, they weren't
Yeah.
even like a main character. They
No,
were
they're
literally
just
just a
cameos.
cameo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they just cameoed. The English voices sounded off. But they use, of course, they actually have them doing their voices, but like
In
the English dub, the English dub kind of sounded off because like I know their voices. That's not how they sound.
So did you watch it dubbed and subbed, or like that scene dubbed and subbed, or did you just
Yeah.
watch it dubbed?
I switched between both. It's like
I
that
see.
doesn't sound natural at all. So I switched the subs. Like, oh, that's what they sound like. That's them.
Gotcha.
Also, it's really weird because Matsuri, she doesn't talk about how she wants to like how obsessed how she looks like a lolly or something, and she wants to sniff her panties or something. She's very unhinged.
Thank you.
streams.
I appreciate you,
Yeah.
Dub, for changing that one for me. Appreciate it.
Well, it's not on the sub either. They kept her very squeaky clean.
Oh,
It's
thank
like,
goodness.
please
I
don't.
appreciate that. Thank you, Anime, for doing one thing for me once.
The that whole little arc right there where they were hanging out with the idol, that was probably my favorite arc. It was really fun.
And that set the tone to make me think that that's what the show was going to be for the rest of the thing.
Yeah.
And then, like, immediately after that arc was done, we are instantly in the flashback.
Flashbacks.
And it's just like, oh, is this just going to, like, start the episode? Nope. That's the next 4 or 5 episodes or whatever. And we're just like, okay.
So I was thinking, aside from just making the flashback shorter, I was thinking, how would I prefer to have the story told? And I think that, like, episode 1, they could have fit all of that into, like, we're going to spend 15 to 20 minutes learning about Kimi and Siesta. And then we're going to spend the last half of that episode learning about the big baddie Hell. Now we're done. Now let's move on. Let's go on to all these different adventures with Nagisa and Kimi and go from there. And maybe eventually along the lines, is there some way? Well, no, that would have spoiled the whole heart thing. But in my opinion, it didn't really matter anyway. At some point, even before that, it like clicked. And I can't remember if it clicked the episode where she literally rips out Siesta's heart or not. I don't remember if it clicked for me then or a little bit before then. But it was always like, oh, well, how did they get Siesta's heart? So I don't know. To me, that wasn't really that big of a deal. So I guess it probably could have gotten told that way. I cared more about what Nagisa and Kimi were doing, like the crimes they were solving.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part.
I think if you wanted more of an emotional connection between Nagisa and Kimi, you had to make it so that Nagisa wasn't completely reliant on Siesta, and make it so that, because I'm assuming, like, let's be real, let's just like read ahead in the light novel. Nagisa and Kimi get together, right? This is a pretty much a set in stone. We don't have to read this light novel. We know for a fact that they get together, which is crazy because that's you could do that in anime. You could just assume, and it's almost always true. Anyway. In my opinion, the way it should have been is they don't tell us about the heart. I think the guy with the ear thing, I don't think he should have been in jail or anything. I think he should have been the final baddie at the end of the season because A, we got an emotional connection, and then B, he's literally the plot device to tell us that that's their heart.
Yeah.
And like, how freaking cool would it have been if like throughout the entire thing we see Kimi and Nagisa do their whole thing where they do different crimes and stuff, and throughout each crime we see Kimi go, that was oddly siesta of her to do. Like maybe I don't. That's weird, has these weird like sudden like realizations. And at the very end, when you finally get to that confrontation against the ear guy, and he goes to attack Nagisa, and he's like, "No, Nagisa!" and it stops, and he can't kill her. And ear guy's like, "Oh shoot, I've heard this heartbeat before." And Kimi starts piecing the puzzle together. He's like, and it's like the big reveal and the big moment, and they kill the guy at the ear, and then they just make out or something. I don't freaking
That would
know.
have been, you know what, that would have been so much better because one of my problems was anytime Nagisa would do something, I was just like, well, is that Nagisa or is that Siesta?
Totally.
And most of the time I came to the conclusion, oh, that's Siesta.
Yep. And then the final nail in the coffin was the fact that they made it so Siesta could just take over if she wanted to. I don't like that. And I know the story tried to get away from that. Like, they literally made an emphasis, like, I'm never doing this ever again. This ain't going to happen again. Like, you were going to be your own self. This is a one-time thing. Yeah. But let's be real. That's probably going to happen again in the light novel. Yeah. Let's be real. But getting away from that, if they just don't even have that at all, make that not even a thing, then it makes Nagisa more of her own character, just slightly influenced a little bit by Siesta. Mm-hmm. Which is a funny, interesting phenomenon, which probably may or may not be rooted in reality. I don't know how people... Can you do a heart transplant in real life?
Yeah.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know. I wasn't sure. Anyway, so like, let's say like if that's a real thing in real life, you get a heart transplant. Do people sometimes take on weird characteristics of the original? They could. I have no idea. I don't know if that's like a phenomenon.
Not how that works.
There's
at
stories of, like, I remember there's a story of one girl that had a heart transplant from somebody that was murdered, and she was able to help solve the case.
Yeah,
of the
so
murderer.
Things like that.
Sounds like a fiction.
It
Exactly,
does.
it sounds like a fiction,
Yeah.
and that's why it works in a story like this. And it's got some weird rooted in realism thing, and I think that could have been cool. Anyway, I'm not a writer. I'm not the one making the big bucks off of this. I watched their show. I gave them money. Essentially, I watched it on the Crunchyroll, so they got some share with the money. So who's to say I'm correct? Tell us what you guys think in the comments if we are incorrect, if we should just read the light novel, or how you would change the story yourself.
Apparently there's a season 2 coming out, so...
Oh, okay, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I probably won't, so let me know how it goes.
My favorite line, though, the whole thing, the little pink hair girl, we didn't even talk about her. She's kind of pointless.
Lisa, that little child.
Apparently Siesta stuffed her in Nagisa somewhere. I don't know.
No, she's already in there.
Oh,
she's a part of hell.
Oh.
That's like hell's, or her heart was inside of hell, and that's the whole thing. Anyway,
I didn't get that part.
That's why they realized that she was the bad guy, because she was actually hell. Okay, anyway, my favorite thing was when she goes like, "Oh, buy me this, Kimi," and Kimi was like, "No, I can't just buy you that," and she goes, "Why, are you poor or something?" It's really funny. I guess I got one final thing. And it's just like, at the very beginning, they tell us Kimi's got this weird thing where unlucky things just happen to him. That only happens at the beginning.
I know.
At one point, he when he walks up on pink hair girl, he's like, "Oh, looks like my unlucky thing's back." And I'm like, for this one minor thing, it's never going to happen ever again. And like, I guess you could call it the unlucky thing. Well, whatever. I don't know. I felt like that was underutilized and it should have come back here and there. Like, maybe not as much as like the undead unluck girl where she just constantly does unlucky things and it ends up being to her favor or whatever. But like, just stupid little things here and there. I don't know. It felt like a plot point that was just like swept under the rug because he forgot about it or didn't like it. That's all I have to say.
I really liked the intro of this. I listened to and watched the intro every time.
Oh, wow.
I really liked the song. It was a banger for me.
It kind of felt generic to me. When you watch a bunch of these light novel adaptations, they have like a samey opening every time.
There's Skylar. He's just walking, and Thane's just all like, boom!
Yeah.
I thought it was okay, personally.
Yeah. I like rock music.
I thought it was fine. I thought it was a lot better than the outro. I don't really like the outro that much.
Yeah, I didn't either.
The animation was good, too.
Yeah.
Honestly though, in the show though, the animation was fire.
Yeah.
There were times when like
Yeah.
they went hard. Like episode 1, that fight in the airplane. Oh my goodness, they went hard for that
Yeah.
scene. They tried so so many little things.
I remember you posted.
Oh yes, but then they have that.
Yeah,
they
but
have that.
no. Here's the thing. I looked at the car. It's like, is that an actual car PNG? And I looked closely. It's like, no, that's a drawing.
It's
Yeah.
not. It's absolutely not. It's a PNG they slapped into place. You can tell. You can really tell.
I looked at it. It's like that.
You
Look,
could
I can see
probably
the
reverse
smudge
image
arts.
search it and find the
PNG.
The PNG.
I saw, but I see like smudge arts. Like it is a drawing.
Just throw in Photoshop for half a second, throw a blur tool on, boom, done.
I
I'm
don't
just
know,
saying
yeah.
that was a PNG. There's no way that wasn't.
I looked. I don't know. I don't buy it.
What we're talking about is like there was a scene in like episode 8 or something like that where Kimi and CS are just walking down the street and they cover it up by having it be on screen for, I'm telling you, like a second or half a second. They show them walking to set the scene, but they got rid of that scene so fast, so it didn't even really set the scene that well because it's gone instantly. Because I think they're trying to cover up that car. Anyway, there's a car off to the side. I don't know why they even bothered putting it there if they're gonna. Regardless, it was a PNG. It was a PNG of a freaking Volkswagen Beetle. They must have used up their budget, I guess, is the only thing I could explain. They used up their budget for the fight scenes that had a lot of
Why
good
they
animation.
just have an empty street? I'm not sure.
That's what I think. I don't know why they didn't have the empty street. They didn't need
You know
to put a
what?
freaking.
Maybe
they were
video.
memeing.
You know what I want? I
They
want a
could've been.
gag
Because
of.
it was half a second.
I want a gag in an anime where it's like every time they show a car, it's just a PNG, like in different angles. It's just a realistic PNG.
See, that's the other thing. It wasn't the right angle for this part of the street it was sitting. It was slightly off, and
it's
that's how you
squished
knew.
a bit.
They just like put it in Photoshop and try to skew it just
Yeah.
right. I don't know. Anyway, though, regardless, other than that, the animation was pretty good, I thought.
Yeah, I think this show is a textbook swimming in sevens for me.
I gave it a 6.
6.
And the more we talked about it, the more I feel like 6 was justified by how much I started disliking it compared to Freerun now. Yeah, but you did this to me. I reluctantly put the 6, but now I'm confident with the 6.
Yeah, I think I put a 7. It was enjoyable, but the more it went on, it got worse. I think it started really high in my mind, and that's
completely.
what ruined it for me.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
I think the stupid made me enjoy it more because when they said aliens, I was like, okay, this anime doesn't give a fuck anymore.
Oh, man. Well, I think that pretty much does it for The Detective Is Already Dead, and that pretty much does it for our show. But it's that time at the end of the show where we choose our next anime to be watching, and I believe it's my turn to choose, and I have chose one that I don't know anything about, and I've heard it's good. I heard people like it. It's called the Tatami Galaxy. Have either of you heard of this?
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
Have you seen it,
That's
Thane?
on my watch
I've
list.
not.
He hasn't seen it, and it's on his watch list. That's a good sign for me. I took a page out of Skylar's book, and it just picked one that I didn't know much about, and I heard people thought it was okay, and I got one that they didn't even see. So
Yeah.
big W's all around. The Tatami Galaxy is what we'll be watching over the next 2 weeks. To let us know what you thought about the Detective's Already Dead, like I said, roast us in the comments. Tell us what you think
Roast
the show
our
could have done.
balls.
Tell us if the light novel is good enough. We should actually read it. I'm not promising anything because I'm thinking about reading ReZero now, so probably won't be getting to this one anytime soon unless you like have the greatest case in the world for it. But that's our show, guys. Thank you for enjoying anime with me again once more. And,
Once again, I am forced to enjoy anime.
hey, not forced.
Yeah,
You
just
do
kidding.
enjoy it. You watch all the little gamer girls on their Twitch streams
Yeah.
all the time. That's anime.
I guess, yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. Have a great life. We'll see y'all later.
Bye.